the podcast where we talk about neurodivergent brains, nervous system chaos, emotional regulation, executive dysfunction, and deeply glamorous experience of forgetting where water or where it is or that it even exists while we've been researching dopamine for an hour and a half. Today, we are talking about ADHD, so ADHD and autism, and medication. We're talking the stimulants, non stimulants, antidepressants, anxiety meds, sleep meds, the off label stuff, and the why did this help my focus but make every noise feel like a personal attack stuff. We're also talking about something huge here, misdiagnosis, because a lot of late diagnosed ADHD adults were first labeled as anxious, depressed, bipolar, dramatic, lazy, sensitive, or not trying hard enough, which is not necessarily a diagnosis. Usually for us, it's medical gaslighting and business casual. Because I'm not saying that you can't also have anxiety, depression, bipolar, or be dramatic or sensitive if you have ADHD and or autism. But usually we first get diagnosed. I was first diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and I never really felt depressed. My depression was situational and it was just intense. And yeah, I didn't feel overly all the time sad. Um, Before we get into it, I am not a doctor. This is education. This is not medical advice. Do not start, stop, mix, or freestyle your meds based on this podcast. Your nervous system is not a Pinterest craft project. Please talk to your provider, especially if you have mood swings, panic, suicidal thoughts, heart issues, sleep problems, substance use or abuse problems, or a medication list that looks like your pharmacy printer got possessed. Okay, let's get into the brain soup. Why medication can be so complicated for ADHD. First of all, ADHD means someone who has both autistic traits and ADHD traits. Now, that can feel like two different operating systems fighting over one overheating laptop. You could take it from me if you want because I am diagnosed ADHD. I am a self diagnosed autistic, and that is because diagnosis is difficult, expensive, and I don't believe that I need the diagnosis for that to receive the accommodations I do. Anyways, ADHD may want novelty, may want movement, stimulation, craving dopamine, while autism wants routine, predictability, sensory safety, and a clear plan. So your brain might be like, I need stimulation, but also like, do not perceive me, but also like, let's start 12 projects. But also like, actually, I need the instructions, the vibes, and a 5-year forecast before I start. Now, medication can help, but it can also affect different parts of the nervous system. A stimulant might help you focus, but it might make sense like your sensory sensitivity is louder. An antidepressant may help your anxiety, but lower your motivation. A sleep medication might help you fall asleep, but you might wake up feeling like a damp sock or at 4 a.m. Like, why am I wide awake at 4 a.m.? This does not mean medication is bad because the research shows that even diagnosed people that have diagnosed ADHD don't continue taking their medication. And I don't know why. I feel that it is super effective. The research behind it shows that it is effective, especially in kids 12 years or younger. You are reducing, if you put them on, if they get diagnosed with ADHD and you put them on medication that works for them, they are 70% less likely to develop a substance use disorder later in life. And that's really all the facts. Like one of the research facts that I need just to know that, I mean, it helps rewire your brain. The younger you put your kid on it, the lower the dose they'll need when they're an adult. Maybe they'll even be able to go off of it because their brain can be rewired. Anyways, let's get back to the whole ADHD of it all. This means that ADHD medication needs nuance, not here's a pill, good luck in the Hunger Games, even though that's still how I kind of feel sometimes. So let's talk about what ADHD medication is usually targeting. Most ADHD meds affect two important brain chemicals: dopamine, which helps with motivation, reward interest, and starting tasks. And then also norepinephrine, which helps with alertness, focus, and getting your brain into task mode. Stimulant medications usually increase dopamine and norepinephrine activity. This can help the brain send a stronger signal like, hey, bestie, we're doing laundry, instead of, hey, bestie, we're reorganizing our entire identity because we saw a TikTok that was about a capsule wardrobe thing. ADHD medication usually does not create superpowers. It often just gives your brain better access to the tools that it already has. So there are two main types of stimulant ADHD meds: methylphenidate based medications like Ritalin, Concerta, and Focalin. Then there are amphetamine based meds like Adderall and Vyvanse. This is why sometimes you might be put on one and then put on another, and they're in two different dopamine classes, and that's why they work. Like one of them might work better. My medication is the generic of Vyvanse, so I'm under the amphetamine based medication. They tried Ritalin on me, and I told them I really did not like the way that it felt. So they moved on to the Adderall and the Vyvanse. Stimulants may help with focus, task initiation, impulse control, emotional reactivity, working memory, follow through, mental clarity, but they can also cause side effects, including low appetite, dry mouth, trouble sleeping, higher heart rate, anxiety, irritability, possible crash or rebounding, jaw clenching, sweating your pores like so bad. Like, oh my God. For some, stimulants feel amazing. Like, oh, this is what having access to my own brain feels like: suspicious but delightful. For others, stimulants may help focus, but may make sensory issues, anxiety, or body tension worse. That does not always mean the medication is wrong. Could be the dose, timing, food, sleep, hydration, hormone cycle crash, or comorbid anxiety may need attention. Because sometimes the medication is not the villain. Sometimes the villain is taking a stimulant on 4 hours of sleep with no breakfast, 3 iced coffees, unresolved trauma, and the emotional support of a granola bar wrapper. Let's talk about non-stimulant ADHD medications now. So the non-stims may be used when stimulants don't work well, they cause too many side effects, or they're considered not a good fit either because the person has high anxiety, because the person may have heart issues or high blood pressure. So common non-stimulants include atomoxetine, also called Strattera, guanfacine, clonidine, and viloxazine. Atomoxetine works slowly. It's not usually an instant my inbox fears me now medication. It's more like a slow software update. Guanfacine and clonidine may help with regulation, impulsivity, hyperactivity, sleep, and emotional reactivity. For some ADHD people, this matters because the issue is not only focus. Sometimes the issue is my nervous system has one volume setting and it is leaf blower on high. These meds can help people feel more steady, but they can also cause tiredness or fatigue, dizziness, low blood pressure, dry mouth, or that like my soul is buffering flat feeling. Medication is not magic. It's chemistry with paperwork. Let's talk about autism and medication because this is an important point. Very important. There is no medication that quote unquote treats autism. Okay. Autism is not a disease that needs to be removed like a haunted appendix, although neither is ADHD. But medication may support specific struggles that can come with autism, like anxiety, depression, ADHD, sleep issues, severe irritability, OCD traits, mood instability, distress, bipolar disorder. The goal should never be make this person easier for everyone else. The goal should be help this person suffer less and access their life more. Now, I did mention bipolar disorder being one of the struggles that can come with autism. It also is a struggle that can come with ADHD. And I have a huge long blog about it on my Substack, and you can search topics on Substack if you're wondering. Real quick, I'm going to talk about how much I love Substack because you can put any type of content on there, whether that's video. I do publishing. I record and publish my podcast through Substack, and it's just a really great community because people really come here to learn, and it's not algorithm based. It's really, really authentically based. And I just really, really like this platform. So if you don't have this app, come on over. I have a ton more content on this app that is, super useful. I've been getting told that recently. Come on over, download the app, go to the show notes. It'll be in there. And yeah, let's get back to the show. So let's talk about off label medications. What does off label mean? Off label doesn't mean illegal, fake, or reckless. It means a medication is being used for something that it was not specifically like FDA approved for. And this happens a lot with medications. Sometimes there's a ton of research behind it. Sometimes doctors use clinical experience. Sometimes options are super limited. Sometimes the prescriber is carefully individualizing care. But off label should never mean no explanation, no monitoring, no plan, just vibes and a pharmacy receipt. Examples of medications sometimes used off label include bupropion for ADHD symptoms, also known as Wellbutrin, beta blockers for physical anxiety symptoms, sleep meds for insomnia, antidepressants for anxiety, depression, OCD, PTSD, or PMDD, mood stabilizers for mood cycling, antipsychotics for psychosis, bipolar disorder, aggression, or severe distress. Some medication combos make sense. Some are carefully built bridges, and some are a Jenga tower built in a diagnostic fog storm. So here's where the comorbid conditions matter. ADHD rarely travels alone. It often brings friends because apparently our brains just love a group project, even though my personality, I hated group projects. Why would our brains love group projects? Anyways, common co-occurring conditions can include, are you ready? It's a long list. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD, bipolar disorder, PMDD, sleep disorders, tics, substance use or abuse disorder, migraines, chronic pain, dysautonomia, GI issues, dyslexia, and other learning disorders. This matters because medication depends on what is actually going on. For example, anxiety might be its own condition, or anxiety may be caused by untreated ADHD, sensory overload, trauma, masking, burnout, or living your life like a Mario Kart with the controller unplugged. Depression may be primary, or it may come from years of shame, failure, overstimulation, executive dysfunction, and being told that you're lazy when your brain is actually begging for support. This is why diagnosis matters, because if the map is wrong, the treatment plan may be wrong too. I'm going to say that again because it happens to too many people. This is why diagnosis matters, because if the map is wrong, the treatment plan is probably going to be wrong too. Let's talk about it. Misdiagnosis and wrong medication combos. Many late diagnosed ADHD adults spend years being treated for anxiety or depression without anyone asking deeper questions like, why are you so anxious? Why are you exhausted? Why do transitions wreck you? Why does noise feel like a felony? Why do you look fine all day and collapse at night? Why does your executive function disappear after masking? The pipeline often looks like this. A child is sensitive, intense, distracted, or overwhelmed. They're told they're dramatic or lazy. As a teen, they become anxious or depressed from masking and struggling silently. As an adult, they then hit burnout. They may get diagnosed with depression, panic disorder, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, stress, all these different things. They try medication after medication. Some help a little, some make things worse, some numb them, some activate them. Some of them make you sleep 14 hours and still wake up feeling like a haunted wet sock. And some do absolutely nothing. Then years later, somebody finally asks, has anyone ever evaluated you for ADHD or autism? And suddenly the whole plot changes. That's not how my story went. My story went, I went in for a full evaluation. Um, and this is not because the anxiety or depression were fake. They may have been very real. They may have been the root. They may have been the smoke alarm. ADHD was the fire in the basement. Let's talk about when medication doesn't work. Sometimes people say medication didn't work for me, and that may be true, but didn't work can mean a lot of things. It can mean the dosage was too low. It can mean the dosage was too high. The timing was wrong. The formula was wrong. The food was too slow or too low. The sleep was bad. The crash was unmanaged. The anxiety was untreated. The sensory overload was still constant. The person was in burnout. The wrong condition was being treated. Side effects were too much. Medication response is data, not judgment. If a medication doesn't work, it doesn't mean you failed. It means the data said not this, or not like this, or not right now. You're not better if you take these types of medications. You're not stronger if you don't. You're not broken if they don't help. And you're not weak if you need them. Medication is a tool that we can pick up and put down. It's not a personality test. So let's talk about what to track when you're trying a medication. Here's my strong opinion. Just see how it goes is terrible advice for ADHD brains. See how what goes. Focus, sleep, appetite, mood, anxiety, sensory sensitivity, crash, task initiation, irritability, the laundry, the will to live. Yeah. So try to track simple things. The time you took it, what you ate, how many hours of sleep you got, like a 1 to 5, how was my focus, mood, anxiety, appetite, crash, rebound, side effects? Did I drink caffeine? Did I do any supplements? Did I drink any alcohol? Do I smoke cigarettes, cannabis? Did I have stress? What were my wins? You don't need a 47 tab spreadsheet unless that type of thing brings you joy. This is not about obsessing. It's about just having receipts and looking back, because our memory under stress is not reliable at all. It's about as reliable as a wet medical chart. Mine would probably say bed, maybe Tuesday, vibes were crunchy, question mark, you know? Let's talk about the emotional side of medication. Medication can bring up grief, especially for late diagnosed adults. I once had a client who did not actually believe that she had ADHD until she was prescribed medication and it worked. Now, sometimes this is because when medication helps, sometimes the first feeling isn't even happiness. Sometimes it's also rage. Like, wait, life was actually supposed to be this accessible. People were just starting tasks without summoning ancestral courage. Medication can make you realize how hard you were working before. It can bring up grief for years spent being punished for symptoms, and it can bring up anger towards systems that missed you. It can also bring fear. What if I need this forever? What if people judge me? What if I am not myself on medication? What if I'm only lovable when I'm regulated? Let me say this part clearly. Support does not erase you, just like glasses don't make your eyes fake. Noise canceling headphones don't make sensory pain imaginary. And medication does not make your needs less valid. You are still you, maybe with slightly less internal screaming. And honestly, that is beautiful when you can get the right med combo. And this does not happen overnight. This took years for me. I was diagnosed at the age of 24 or 25. I was not on the right, correct medication combination until I was 30. Okay. Let's talk about red flags to bring to your provider. Please talk to your provider if you notice worsening depression, suicidal thoughts, panic attacks, rage, mania like symptoms, not sleeping but feeling energized, psychosis symptoms, severe appetite loss, chest pain, fainting, heart palpitations, severe dizziness, intense emotional blunting, scary personality changes, severe rebound or crash, problems with mixing meds, cannabis, supplements, or alcohol. Do not wait until your nervous system is sending smoke signals. This can end you up in the loony bin in the mental hospital. That's where I ended up. That's talking from personal experience. Okay, side effects can be common and still not acceptable, and you are allowed to want a functioning and quality of life. Right? Wild concept, revolutionary. Please put it in the Constitution. All right, here we go. Ending on the last stretch. Top 5 tips for ADHD and medication. Number 1, treat the whole nervous system. Do not only treat focus and ignore sleep, food, sensory needs, and trauma and anxiety, burnout, hormones, and routines. Otherwise, you may become productive but a little crispy. And crispy is still crispy. So ask, what is helping? What got worse? What still needs support? Number 2, track patterns, not perfection. See last episode. Track the basics: medication time, sleep, food, mood, focus, anxiety, crash sensitivity, crash side effects, wins. Bring that information to your appointments. Data helps you advocate for yourself. Know the difference between regulated, numb, and activated. Regulated feels like more choice. Numb feels like less self. Activated feels like your nervous system found a Red Bull in a haunted basement. A good medication plan should help you access your life, not turn you into a productivity Roomba, okay? Number 4, misdiagnosis matters, okay? If you have been treated for anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, or stress for years and something still doesn't add up, it might be worth asking about ADHD, autism, trauma, PMDD, sleep disorders, medical issues. And not because every diagnosis is wrong, but because incomplete diagnoses can lead to incomplete treatment. And incomplete treatment is exhausting. It's like fixing a plumbing issue by painting the bathroom. Pretty? Maybe. Still flooding? Absolutely. Number 5, last but not least, medication is a tool, not a moral scorecard. Taking meds does not mean you failed. Not taking meds does not mean you are better. Needing a combo doesn't mean you're too much. Changing meds doesn't mean you're unstable. Asking questions doesn't mean you're difficult. And you are allowed to say, this helps, but the side effects are too much. My focus improved, but my sensory sensitivity is worse. This works until 2 p.m., and then I become a raccoon in a crisis. I need help understanding my options. This is not dramatic. This is informed consent. Wearing eyeliner and mascara and ready for the day. So here's the heart of it. ADHD medication is not one size fits all. It's not just a stimulant or non-stimulant. It's nervous system support. It's diagnosis, comorbid care, side effect tracking, sleep, sensory needs, accommodations, food, hydration, timing, hormones, and actual human context. Medication is not the whole answer. It is not a personality transplant. It is not a cure. It's a tool, a bridge, a volume knob, a little chemical scaffolding while you build a life that does not require you to abandon yourself to survive. And that is not a weakness. That, my friend, is a strategy. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to Authentically ADHD. Send this episode to someone who's ever said, I think my medication works, but I also feel like a haunted toaster or something like that. And share it on your socials. And don't forget to tag me at authentically ADHD_podcast so I can give you a big virtual hug for helping our community grow. And remember, you are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not too much. Your brain just came with advanced settings and absolutely no user manual. We are writing it together. Stay authentic and we will talk soon, my friends.